start from the top.
Girl with arm tattoo, do you still think it's not gay for a guy to have sex with another biological guy just because he identifies as a woman?
What?
It was a little convoluted.
Oh, that's very convoluted.
Wait,
What do you believe? You think it's not gay for a man to do those sorts of things with another man?
If he considers himself a woman?
Wait, what?
Oh, it's the transgender thing.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's not gay if a man does that sort of thing with a man who says he's a transgender woman?
Yeah.
Yes, they're mad. Okay, so can we? I'm giving context because you tried to throw me.
Oh, should we play the video? Should we?
I'd love to watch the video.
Just so there's context. Eric, you're gonna have to pull up the Twitter.
Wait, I'm excited to see this video.
Just pull up the whatever Twitter.
Chase, would you rather smash the hottest trans woman in the world or the oldest woman in the world? Honestly, bro, the oldest woman in the world, because then I wouldn't be gay.
You really just want me to just rip you a fucking new one.
Are you like, Chase,
No.
how dare you be transphobic?
Yes, actually, what the fuck do you mean? Yes, that was
Because
so
if I
unnecessary.
had sex with a trans woman, I'd be having sex with a biological man, and I don't want to do that.
The question is,
That's not what you said, though. That's fine. If that's
Because
what you
I'd
want
be
to say.
gay if I had sex
That's
with a
not
biological
gay.
man.
That's not gay.
That's
And
gay.
I don't even care if you're doing this for like whatever, but like shut the fuck up. Actually,
I'm doing
You
it
look
for
like
what
you have a
it-
really
Hey,
good
why
respect
don't-
his
why don't-
street
That's too far.
identity.
That's
Why don't
too
you
fucking
Why
far.
don't you make me
That's
shut
too
the
far.
fuck up? Because I have an opinion that differs from yours.
That's gonna be a part of something that's starting to say shit like that.
She's right. I mean, that's really
But
hateful,
she's
bro.
not. She's not. It would technically be homosexual. A trans woman is a biological man.
I want to
Sue me.
meet
Fuck,
you.
dude, that's mean. I also gotta go.
It's
I gotta
not
go.
fucked up. It's real.
That's
It's
his-
true.
Okay, if you guys want to
It's
respect
factual.
gender identities, that's his though. That's his sexuality.
I'm not allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to say that.
Yes, from a biological woman who doesn't even have any trans friends, that was too fucking far. A man of God who doesn't judge a Christian, yeah.
Yeah, you know what God said? It said He made them man and women. He made them man and women.
He actually said
I just
man,
told you I'm
women,
not
and
gay. I'll
them.
pass on that. Thanks, though.
So
No, he said
didn't take
God
your
created
own
man,
advice.
both male and female created he
You knew
them.
that stating biological
them. So there's
facts would
thems.
make
They
people walk
thems.
off the show.
No, the them refers to the men and the women.
no, but he
man
said
is the
them,
gender
so
neutral
it's
word.
like they them.
Well, he's referring to both of them.
But he said them, so he's like saying man created men and women in them. So he
No,
admitted
he
to
said
create-
in the beginning God created man, both male and female created he them.
them.
These are the
Them.
types
So
of
while
man.
other
Them.
countries
Right.
are planning
Male and
to
female.
invade us with debating they them, the whole
You,
thing.
when you refer to multiple people, you say them, right?
Or you could be referring to they thems.
It's English.
They thems don't exist. I hate to break it to
I've
you.
met some. It's crazy. You wouldn't
You've met
believe me.
very confused men and sometimes very confused women, but you have never met an
Most
actual
non-binary people I meet are women, not men.
Yeah.
Just gonna put that out
Really?
there.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe because they don't have to face the consequences of all their friends being jackasses. A woman coming out as non-binary probably will have a friend group that will accept her more than
A man.
a man
coming out
as non-binary.
Oh, I thought you were saying the women get into this stuff because they're really messed up or something more than the men are, but you're saying that this is a real category of being and it's just the men are afraid to admit it. You can't seriously believe that.
I do believe there's people who are, I don't know if it's ambiguous or what it is. There's people who were born in their wrong gender. There's people who are born and they don't feel like they fit in either box. Do I think people are born that believe they're cats and stuff? No. I don't believe that shit. No.
There are
Do I
people who
believe-
think that, though.
I'm saying no, I don't. I'm not saying that's correct, but I haven't seen anything to back that up. But I just,
So
the fact that you guys, in anyone's right mind would somebody go from, like Bruce Jenner, for example, or Caitlyn Jenner now, for example.
Did you just
Successful.
dead name?
Successful athlete, Olympian, whatever, all this
Guy in
stuff.
the Wheaties box.
Was married to Kris Jenner, had the fucking life of whatever. Unless she truly believed that and felt that deep inside of her core, she ultimately ruined her life for basically a whole decade.
No, he became much more relevant and famous than he was.
I
previously.
highly
Obviously,
disagree.
he was on magazine covers.
Well,
Everybody
he
was
got
talking
way
about him.
more
We're talking
She's
about
been
him.
on magazine covers. She's an Olympian. That's not. She's
But
not
he had-
on. She's not on.
He was an
covers
Olympian
'cause
many
she's
decades
trans.
ago. No,
but
he
exactly.
he was on a magazine cover for the first time in decades.
But
because
after
he
she
pretended
came
to be a woman.
out as transgender, she got way more hate.
Exactly.
And she got
The only thing
ruined
worse than being talked
relationships.
about is not being
But
talked
she
about.
probably
That's
made
how show
more
business
money.
works.
But no, she
Okay,
she
so
lost a
take
lot of
away. Okay,
relationships.
But the
sorry.
reason he
take
did
away
that-
Caitlyn Jenner.
do you know
Take
why?
a-
The
okay, no,
reason-
hold on. Put on your basic day-to-day person. Okay, you're not gonna like this one. Okay, no, not you. You, for example. Okay, there's people like you who are super conservative, right in their
Handsome.
views and stuff, and then.
Charming.
They wake up
And
and,
then-
they want to be a woman.
But is it because they just woke up and want to be women, or is it because they finally found the courage to
Well, maybe
come out with
there's
something
probably-
they've been suppressing their whole lives? I just don't understand why you guys think somebody would risk. Like, yes, some people can benefit from coming out as trans, but most people do not benefit from that. So why would somebody risk their whole livelihood, not even just career, but literally especially black
Because they
trans
have a
people?
sexual fetish. Because they have
Also,
a
why
disordered
does it
sexual
bother
desire.
you?
I think
I
it's
feel like
just
why does
so
it bother
complex.
people?
Because it isn't true.
But why does it
Like,
bother
why
you?
is
It's
that?
not
Yeah.
harming you. It's not hurting anyone.
Well, it
like,
is
they're
harming
just-
society.
So
a
do
lot.
you go
I mean,
around? Do you go
How?
around fighting
Because-
people who think the world's flat? Do you go around
You're like
fighting
you're
them?
harming society.
No, well, because in the case of transgenderism and this ridiculous idea that men can secretly be women and vice versa, there are very practical effects that we see. Like, for instance, if we
pushed
accept
onto
this,
children.
yeah, well, it's obvious. It's pushed onto children. We're castrating children left and right, which is insane. But also, if we accept transgenderism at all, even for one single adult person, that means that certain things will change in society. Women don't get to
Maybe
have their own
things
bathrooms
need to
anymore.
change.
Women don't get to have, well, perhaps, but at least one could have the debate. Women don't get to have their own bathrooms. Women don't get to have their own sports teams. Women don't get to have their own specific rights and places in society. Protections in civil rights law, they lose that because some men can say that they're women. And so it seems to me the obvious question to ask is not, well, what does it matter to you? Who really cares? First of all, the people pushing this seem to care a lot. But the question to ask is it true? Are these men who say that they're women actually women, or are they men who are confused or who have weird sexual fetishes or have disordered desires?
Gender-wise, they
Obviously,
are.
it's the former.
Biologically, they're not. So
What's
gender.
the difference?
There's the difference is like science, and then the other difference is like how you feel in your head and the way you are in society. There's a huge difference. The difference is like the chromosomes and then your mentality.
Okay, so if there's a
good point.
disagreement between what you're saying is your physical self and your emotional self, your
Yes.
psychological self, then why would you not just change your mind? If the options are chop up your body to make go through gruesome surgeries, that
If
are
you're
gonna probably
living with
shorten
your mind
life,
for your whole life and you understand like, oh, I've been trying to change it. Like she said, most people are repressing it and are trying to change it, but they just can't. So why would this is something physical that I can easily go change instead of trying to retrain your thought process over and over and over and over.
But
again.
it's
It's
not
like it's
so
because they'd rather be
easy,
dead.
though.
They would rather be dead than live in the lie anymore.
But
is
the
what
problem,
it's getting to.
if you bring up like suicidality, there is no evidence that having these surgeries and pretending to be the opposite sex reduces any of that whatsoever. So the
because
people
there's always going to be
post-op,
because there's going to be dysphoria forever, especially
Yeah.
from people like you guys
so it
going
doesn't
on the
help.
internet.
No, it's from
fucking
themselves because they know that
bashing
they're living
them
a lie.
every day.
Yeah.
No,
That's
no,
my
you're
whole
not-
thing.
I'm not bashing anybody.
I'm not
No,
saying you. Okay,
you,
maybe I
but-
shouldn't say maybe Chase because my whole thing because I didn't even get to speak on the.
But what
video
he
of me
said
that
was
got played.
totally right.
Okay, so since we're gonna
Sure,
go back to
go
that,
ahead.
the video that got played, right? If you don't want to sleep with a trans woman, that is your prerogative. I don't give a fuck what you want to do. That is your preference. That does not make you transphobic at all. But to get up on a podcast that has almost 4 million viewers and to say that any man who chooses to sleep with a trans woman is now taking part in homosexual, gay activities, I feel like that is wrong. I feel like that is hateful. And for somebody who claims to be so religious, so God, new, born again, virgin, Christian, I think that's very hateful of you. If you want to say, I personally wouldn't do that, that's not for me, then that's your thing. Answer the question. That's how you do it. It's a step further.
Is it hateful to say that a man can't really secretly be a woman?
I'm saying it's hurtful to say that sleeping, for any man to
But
sleep,
the first question you have to answer is not
that's
sleeping
not,
with
but
who.
I'm
The
talking
fir-
about what happened on the podcast.
No, I know, but
I'm referring to
I'm
that.
picking up on his point. The question is, what is a trans woman? And so what Chase would say and what I would say and what everybody throughout all of human history until 5 minutes ago would say is that a trans woman is just a man who is pretending to be a woman.
So I'm the only one who thinks this in the world.
yeah,
You're,
you're
in the
trying to say.
minority.
No,
Yeah.
she's
A lot of
not.
people
Yeah.
are saying it now, but you're historically speaking, yes. Statistically, 0% of people ever have thought that a man wearing
No,
a
there's
dress and a
cultures
That's
where
so
they, there's
incorrect.
cultures where they're.
Then what about in
gender-
Thailand?
They don't
What
know.
about the femboys in Thailand that have existed for decades and decades and decades and decades, and
There's
they're
this third
living.
weird thing in certain cultures, like a modern
So
culture
you don't
like Thailand.
don't erase them.
But that's-
Then you're erasing them. That's
No,
like me
but
trying to
you
erase your
are
religion.
even-
If I could be like, oh, well, there's some people who believe in this one
No,
ancient
but-
thing called the Bible.
But
Yeah,
even
some
the-
of them went in Rome with him.
But even
that
when you're talking about
erasing
when you're
a
talking
whole
about this,
countries.
this weird species of prostitute in Thailand,
Weird species of prostitute.
Yes,
You don't
that's what-
understand how that sounds. You know,
that sounds precise.
A weird species. So now we're not human. So back to
No,
the
a
abortion.
a species in the
I'm
technical
just saying,
term.
Hold
bro,
on.
if
Let,
you're
let
gonna
him,
be-
let him explain. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so it's a type. So even there's this weird phenomenon in Thailand, for example, where there are these guys.
That a
who
lot
get
of
weird
American
surgeries.
men go to.
Yeah, well, they probably shouldn't do that. But the reason that is different is because it's not, those people are not saying, I am really a woman. That's a weird, bizarre cultural carve-out that exists in Thailand. The difference here is, and what you are saying, is that a man who puts on a dress, puts on a wig, chops his body up, calls himself a woman, is actually a woman. And I just don't see how you could believe that that is true.
So she has a vagina, shit, probably fucking tighter than mine, double D racks,
Wait.
hair down to the fucking ass, looks like a woman, talks like a woman, does everything besides menstruate and can give birth. What is separating her between the woman who are infertile, who can't have birth, or a woman after menopause, or the woman who never get their period?
So physically,
Are they not women either?
physically speaking, one, those are pretty big differences, and there are other differences too in terms of their bone density and the shape of their
Oh, yeah, 'cause
skeletons
you're
or-
gonna- yeah.
But also there are the chromosomal differences, which is that that woman, as you call it, still chromosomally is a man. And then beyond that, are you actually saying that women are just their
Well,
bodies?
that's-
That a woman is nothing more than
Are you saying a woman is just her chromosomes? She's nothing more
no,
than
no,
just her
I'm
chromosomes?
saying a woman is much more than all of that. That actually
Me too. That's why I'm saying
But-
that.
but not just
if
chromosomes.
she feels, since
A-
the
a
day
woman
she
is
was
also a
woke up
soul,
in
is
this,
what I'm saying.
yes, and that person woke up the first day of their consciousness, and since they can remember, they remember their soul being a woman or a man or whatever.
well, that's
trapped.
usually not true. That's usually a
it's
sexual
not
fetish
true.
that
You don't
develops.
understand why
But-
it's
everyone
called-
who
can I
feels
say
that way.
Well, that's
No,
why.
I'm
So
just
do you believe
correcting.
people aren't gay either then? Do you believe nobody's gay and they just do it for
Well,
attention
no,
as well?
to say I am gay means that I have an attraction to a member of the same sex.
Okay, I'm just
So-
clarifying because a lot of people who usually do this trans argument are also
No,
arguing
nobody,
that gay people don't exist
denies,
either.
Nobody denies that certain people have different sexual attractions. In fact,
People deny it all the time. Actually, they say it's a choice that they're choosing to do that. They're
oh,
not
well,
born that way.
they're certainly choosing to engage in certain behaviors.
But
yeah, that's true.
choosing to engage because it's your biological driven.
No, you can
duty.
suppress your own desires. I have all sorts of desires that I repress.
Yes, you can
I
suppress
wanna
your
go-
own
I wanna go
desires,
eat a
but
cookie
why
right now.
should
I wanna
somebody?
go get a delicious hard seltzer? But I'm
Yes,
not
you can
gonna do
suppress
that.
your own desires, but why should somebody have to suppress if it's two legal consenting adults? Why should somebody have to suppress that just because they're the
Because
same
we
gender?
have obligations to reality and to the truth.
What's the reality? The reality is we
The
should be
reality
a man and a
is that
woman.
man
That's
in
the
a
reality.
The reality is that a man in a dress is not a man, or is not a woman.
Okay, but now
rather.
I was trying to get away from
this
something
is,
else.
This is
Hold
why
on.
the
Yeah.
whole
Go
thing,
ahead,
the whole
Sam.
thing goes back to where it's called transgender and not transsex. Like you can't change your sex. To the down to the bottom of it, your chromosomes are going to be your chromosomes, but
Right.
they're
Into the mic,
changing
into the
their
mic.
gender. And gender is a man-made thing. It's something that we've created. We've created genders and gender roles in our society. We did not create sex. Yes, there's men and female. That goes back to science or God, whatever you would like to say.
if gender is man-made, then you're saying it's artificial. It's not real.
It's not real.
Oh, okay. So then who cares?
Exactly. So why do you care?
Oh, well, if it's not real, then the trans woman is just a man.
For
'Cause
you,
you said-
maybe.
'cause you
But
said the
for
gender's not
her,
real.
she's a woman.
But
and
I
that's
think
fine.
gender is
And I
real.
don't think it should bother you. And I don't think it should get all these little incel men angry about it.
You don't, do you not think? I mean,
Okay, I think the issue is that this whole conversation, it makes the male role, right? It kind of creates the more, I don't know. I just think the whole argument about gender, it's so pushed out into our society. I don't think it's like this in the rest of the world right now.
Right.
There's so many other issues, like the whole
rest of the world
60
knows what
like
men
the
and women are.
62 different genders.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane. I mean, I'm not hateful towards anyone. I think as long as you're a good person, you can do whatever you want. I just don't like that it's pushed onto children, because like a lot of people that are getting these surgeries, they regret it. And then a lot of children that are put onto hormones, it really messes with your...
And also,
But
obviously,
it's
this
recent
is
too.
something
I'm
that
sure
is
it is,
brand
but-
new to our society, and there needs to be a lot more research done and more understanding about it, and like there needs to be laws done. So I understand. I don't think kids should be getting their parts change.
But I guess my question
They
is,
can't.
what?
They have to be 18. That's already in place.
No, that's not
You
true.
know
The
that-
transition process can start much younger than that. and
Hormones,
currently
yes,
is.
but they
And
in
obviously puberty
America,
blockers and-
yeah, but in America you cannot
And a
get
social
surgery before the age of 18.
Yeah, but
Legally,
they can put you on
can
some
at certain
hormones.
points, but-
legally, you cannot get surgery.
Yeah,
can
because the laws
take-
are somewhat ambiguous.
They
so
can cut your
Yeah.
breasts
Yeah,
off.
they can,
But
yeah.
like I used to teach a lot, and just from experience, and I don't know much, so I don't want to like say too
no,
much.
you're right
but-
about almost everything. I'm very impressed with how
like
right you
right
are
and
about
wrong.
many
Like
things.
I don't, don't tell me like
Oh, I'm telling you, I don't care. You can tell me no, but you're
okay,
right about these
so I used
basic
to
things
teach a
like
lot
gender
of
roles.
kids,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of kids I noticed that have a lot of these gender issues, and then they wear their gender on their sleeve, and then they're like, I'm gay, or like
Yeah.
they're like they tend to have depression. They're very like, I feel like they need support and help, not just in the gender department where people are pushing them, oh, maybe you should be gay, or maybe you should do this. Like, there's much more.
I had a girl come up to me. I was giving a speech, and she said, "Hey, Michael, thanks for speaking out on the transgender thing because I had gender dysphoria." And she was young. I mean, this girl was a teenager, and she said, "I had gender dysphoria, and my psychologists were starting to push me down this path of transition."
Like, that's wrong.
But-
I believe that's wrong.
Well, she said, luckily, I had good parents and a good priest, and they said, "You're not actually a boy." And guess what happened? She kept going to see psychologists. They figured out that actually she had undiagnosed autism. So they started treating her autism, and what do you know? Her gender dysphoria greatly abated. Now it's basically
It goes back to good family. I think,
Exactly,
right?
and because I've been teaching in San Francisco since 2016, so I've seen a lot of how that affects kids. I teach kids all the way from TK through high school. So yes, there is definitely a correlation between the two, but it's typically because those kids, depression can be something that's brought onto you from your environment, or it could be something that's just a chemical imbalance in your brain. It doesn't have to be from a situation.
The
Hold on, let me
chemical
finish this
imbalance
thought
is
before I
kind of
forget.
debunked,
But usually, a lot of these times is why there's this correlation is because they find that the LGBTQ community or whatever is more accepting. So they think, oh, just because my friends that I choose to hang out with are gay and stuff means I must be. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a problem. Yes, they shouldn't be able to just now go to their therapist and say, I want to now change my hormones for sure. That's why I don't, in that situation it was a priest, but in a lot of cases it's usually another therapist intervention. I'm sure you can, in some places it's easy, but I don't have any trans friends personally, but I've watched a lot of experiences online. It is not easy to just go through these surgeries. You have to get documents from family, friends, therapists, psychiatrists, everything. It's not just you wake up one day and say, okay, I'm a boy. They're going to give you hormones. They're going to chop off and do this.
Well,
That's not how it works.
I talked to a girl who that is actually exactly what happened. She walked into a Planned Parenthood. She said she had gender dysphoria and she wanted to receive testosterone. And she was able to receive that prescription very quickly.
Testosterone and
Parents
hormones,
screwed her.
it's a lot easier because, well, unless you're prepubescent, most of the things, not all of them are reversible because, like, especially testosterone,
Yeah, it's
it's
not.
not all reversible.
Yeah.
But with those things, I could see how it is easier because it is a hormone, because just how those things are given out for other situations
Yeah, it's insane.
besides just
but
trans.
The problem, I guess, is this, which is if you really believe, as you say, that for some people are faking it, right? And some people think they're a cat, and they're not. Obviously, they're not a cat. But for some people, I don't know who these people are. There are really men who are secretly somehow women, and therefore they should transition to become women. So
Yes.
the question is, at what point were they the wrong sex? It's from the moment of birth, right? They were born that way. So if they were born that way, then why wouldn't we trans the kids?
Because that's the whole thing is, how can a child be so certain? They have to grow into those emotions and feelings.
I thought they knew you just said they knew from
Because
the earliest
yes,
moments.
they've known from the beginning that something was wrong. That's usually what it is. They know something's wrong, that they're not fitting. Like, for example, it's
but
not.
sometimes they grow out of it.
Well,
I honestly, I really don't
problems
think people
relied
grow
on
out of it. I
something
think
else.
they're either
A lot of it is
conditioned to
psychological.
not do it, or they realize the other way might be easier.
or that there's
and
a
then there are
different
people who are
problem.
faking it. Yeah.
For a lot of people who suffer gender dysphoria, or used to be called gender identity disorder, the vast majority of teenagers who suffer that will grow out of it. Within a few years, that gender dysphoria will go away. For some smaller percentage, that dysphoria persists. And
I
and
think
they
you're
have to deal
confusing
with it
maybe
later.
gender dysphoria, or not just you, but these stats and people who report back are confusing sometimes gender dysphoria versus not feeling like, I don't know, a woman when you're growing up, or feeling like
Right.
a
Wait,
man.
so-
That's also what people, there's so many terminology and words and buzzwords out there these days that
Maybe
people
it's
try
the
to
same
label
thing.
themselves with anything when sometimes it's just not that deep.
Wait, so KEEKO, I have a question. I kind of asked this last show, and I don't think I really got a proper answer on it. So my question was, ignoring gender identity, ignoring gender, if we're just looking at sex, if two males, I'm not talking about two men, I'm talking about two males. If two males were to have sex, is that not gay? Is that not homosexual? I'm not saying it's wrong, but is that
Since
that
sexuality
gay
is
or homosexual?
I base sexuality off of gender, so I would need to know their gender and not their chromosomes.
So if you
to
dated
answer
a
that
guy,
question.
you were dating, or let's say you were married to this guy, he's been your husband for 10 years, and then one day he says, I'm a woman now, and you went and you engaged in that thing married couples engage in, would you say you're a lesbian now? So the husband you've been married to for 10 years?
She wouldn't be a lesbian, but maybe she's bisexual now, or maybe she's
No, but her husband is now her wife,
but
right?
I get what you're trying to get at.
Yeah,
your
that's
point you're trying to get at, and technically, yeah. I mean,
you don't
I think
believe
it's.
that,
I think it's would be ridiculous,
Yes.
like for people to go out in public and not transition themselves at all, and expect to be like, if you thought your pronouns were she, hers, to expect people to refer to you as she, her, or ma'am, whatever, presenting yourself like this. Yeah, I think things like that are ridiculous.
Yeah.
There has to be some types where it says gender roles.
So then
that's the whole reason why they're wanting to say they're transgender, is because they want to follow the other gender role, right? So follow the gender role.
So then instead, this is a great point, because this is where I differ from some of the conservatives here. A lot of the conservatives say gender expression's totally fake and sex is all that matters. And I'm kind of with you in the sense that I think gender expression obviously is real. There are feminine men, there are masculine women, all of that's true. But instead of concluding, therefore, that we have the right not only to have any gender expression we want, but actually to be the different sex and to call myself a woman or call myself a man, why didn't we take in the other direction and say, if you're a man, there's obviously diversity is the spice of life, but you have a general obligation to act like a man. And if you're a woman, you can be kind of diverse and you can be a little more tomboyish maybe or whatever, but you have a general obligation to act like a woman.
I feel like we do, and if you don't, you get bullied and ostracized into the group.
There's cultural pressure.
Let me interject really quick. We have 8,000 people watching. The chat is on fire. Guys, I just got a text from Chase. If we can get the likes to 5,000, it's at 3.7K right now. If we can get the likes to 5,000, Chase will call in right now. And we can... No, you don't want to talk to Chase?
Different episode.
Well, no, we got to...
10:15.
Wow, you're checking your watch the second his name comes up.
I would like to do a whole episode with Chase.
Well, Chase just wants to say hi really quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like a 2-minute hi.
It
And
has
then
to
he'll
be.
be off.
Why always in the end? Like, can we?
Guys,
can Chase
get the
come at
likes to
9 o'clock?
5,000. Don't worry, it's just gonna be a 2-minute phone call. He just wants to check in.
Two phone calls.
Hold on, you've never voted?
For like the what's it called?
Hold on.
Primary and stuff. Like no, like I live in California. Why does it matter?
Wait.
Yeah.
Chase.
What's up, bro? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, one in the chat, guys. If you're able to hear Chase. Hey, Chase, can you just say testing 1 2 1 2?
Testing 1 2 1 2. What's up, bros in the chat?
Hey, let us know if it's coming in good. Eric, is it audio coming in good?
Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear him. Sorry.
Is it? Yeah, the chat's catching up. We're just waiting to see if the chat can hear you. This way, it's kind of a scuff setup. We're really far behind on the chat. Holy crap! Sorry, guys.
Yeah, they can hear.
One.
The chat can hear me. I'm
Okay,
watching
perfect.
it right now.
All right. So are you guys gonna?
Hey, Chase.
What's up, guys? What's up, Michael?
Hey,
What's up, KEEKO? Hello to the rest of the ladies on the panel. Shout out to the bros in the chat.
He knows me by first name.
Chase, we were just admiring your
Making him
beautiful
right, she should.
argument about transgenderism, which was pithy and illuminating and just a magnificent performance.
Thank you. Yes, it was quite a moment. I enjoyed KEEKO's performance in particular.
KEEKO's not amused by that statement.
I'm not surprised.
I want a part two.
Michael, you're doing a great job holding it down on the podcast. And I wanted to ask, where is the girl in blue from?
Well, I was born in Armenia. I lived in Russia. Then we moved to Houston, Texas, and I went to school in New York, and then moved to LA. It's kind of.
Well, I just wanted to say your takes have been extremely based tonight, and I've heard that a lot of women in Eastern Europe have similar based takes and traditional values. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, based on history and surviving, I guess that's where it stems from. But yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes, we need. I think we need to bring more Eastern European women to America so that we can set things straight.
No, everybody's great.
It's my only pro-immigration area. I say yes. Eastern European-based right-wing women.
Let me just add.
They all get green cards. Yeah.
I want to add to that the gymnasts. The Eastern European gymnasts.
We're getting very specific now.
They can come. They can. So, Chase, do you have anything you want to say to KEEKO?
I just want to I want to commend her for her continued participation on the podcast. Apparently, she's got some pretty thick skin. I don't know if she's received any hatred from the that podcast we did. I'm curious, KEEKO, have you received any hatred? Has it been okay? What's the response been on your end?
Yeah, like I'm getting pretty harassed. Yesterday, I was told they're going to burn me alive, behead me, chop me up, gut me. I won't include the N-words that they said in it, but...
Well, I just...
Disavow.
Yeah, 100% disavow. I just want to say for everybody watching the show and listening, even though KEEKO and I disagree on some of these fundamental things, I don't think it's okay to send her death threats or anything like that. We can disagree politely. And I'm curious, KEEKO, if you had the opportunity to go back, would you do anything differently? Do you feel like you handled yourself the way you wanted to? Do you still feel the same? What do you think?
Only thing I would have changed is I would not have told you to shut the fuck up, probably.
What about the dick sucking? What about that
No, I definitely would have still told you to suck a fat cock. Yeah.
Still would have said that.
Maybe a fatter cock. Yeah,
it's not totally black and white.
I shouldn't have told you to shut the fuck up. No, but you could still suck multiple cocks from that statement, definitely. But and I just wish. My biggest regret in that situation is I had been staying for a while. I had to leave to go to work, so I do wish we could have not had a whole dragged out conversation about it, but exchanged more words before I made my exit.
Right, I understand. Well, I will still pass on your recommendation for me to suck dicks. And the one thing I'm curious about
disavow.
Is, if I were to say that men are men and women are women and abortion is murder and Christ is Lord, I'm curious, what would you say to that?
I have to say amen, I think.
I said I'll see you in hell, my brother.
Well, you won't see him. Hopefully.
Yeah, I will, because if he's going around muttering that shit, I think we're going to end up in the same place.
What?
Hey, what? Oh.
I'm just repeating what Jesus Christ said in the Word of God and what God said himself. And he's got an open invite to heaven for anybody who wants it. So I invite you and the rest of the panelists to accept Jesus Christ and meet me there in heaven,
I left him a good 6 years ago, and I plan on staying here.
You can come back.
I don't want to.
Why not?
Oh,
I was there for a good 16 years, saw the bullshit, made my exit, don't plan on returning.
Chase, do you have any pithy apologetics and evangelism?
Oh, we could definitely get into that. I think it's a little bit beyond the scope of
a
this
phone call.
right now. But just out of curiosity, KEEKO, what was the final nail in the coffin for your faith? What was it ultimately that turned you away from it all?
Just realizing how many things were rewritten in the Bible. I'm talking mostly from Catholicism, not Christianity. I wasn't very pertained in that, but just how many things are rewritten in the Bible that people nowadays say is from like homosexuality and such, but really it's about the P word, and just there's so many people in the higher church that are P words, so they try to rewrite history to make it about homosexuality,
we can't bring that word
when
up.
really it's about, not doing that things. But, we struggle with that in the Catholic Church, so we had to rewrite a little bit of things.
Catholics have a lower rate of pedophilia and sexual abuse than public schools by a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I went to Catholic school.
I
don't know any of my public school friends that were touched by any of their teachers, but I can't say that about my classmates.
Well, I'm not downplaying. Obviously, sexual abuse exists everywhere, but the Catholic Church does not have a higher rate of sexual abuse than any other religion.
I'm not saying it does.
And it has a much lower rate than public schools. So
okay, but you're saying the public schools, but we're talking about religion, and I'm just saying that there's a correlation.
Yeah, I can hear you.
If we could, for just a moment, I want to go back to the claim that KEEKO just made. So in Leviticus, it says that if a man lies with a male as he would with a woman, that's an abomination. And it also says in Genesis that
Chase,
God
you're
made
talking
them
about
male
religion
female.
and not
Hold
everyone's
on one
religious.
Second. It says that God made the male and female and that the two are to become one flesh. Are you telling me that part has been rewritten, or which part's been rewritten?
I'm sorry. As soon as you pull out the whole mumbo jumbo, like
Well,
lights are off.
it's just because you said it. You said it's all been rewritten and you learned this. And
I know.
But then Chase quoted directly from Genesis and Leviticus, and he could quote from the Gospel of Matthew and many other places in the Bible. And so he's saying, was this rewritten? And
my
it
whole
doesn't
point
seem
is,
like it
and I
is.
think these girls might see it too, I'm not using religious jargon or these terminologies. When he says that shit, it is in one ear, out the other. We don't even listen. I couldn't even tell you one thing he just said because we don't care.
Yeah,
Hey,
religion has nothing to do with us.
Chase, is it cool?
Because we separate state and religion.
No, but I guess
y'all can believe what you want. It doesn't hurt us for y'all to believe what you want, but you're
Yeah.
not going to indoctrinate on us to believe that. That's the whole
Exactly.
point.
But-
believe what you want, but we're not
But
going to
isn't
switch
that?
sides.
But that's also kind of a religious view, I guess, is the issue. To say like it's cool for everyone to believe what they want.
If I may,
Yeah.
if I
Is
may,
it though?
There is this.
Hold on.
There is this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Chase.
If I may, there is a specific claim made that the scriptures about homosexuality were rewritten. And I just referenced scriptures about homosexuality, and so I'm asking which of those scriptures were rewritten.
Oh, I couldn't recite off the top of my head. I don't give a fuck like that at all. I've just researched it before. I know it's happened, but I don't keep that written in my mental
maybe
log.
you-
Philippians 1:32 has been rewritten to be about sexuality instead of like, no, I don't. I don't
maybe you
care
were
about this shit on
mistaken.
my day-to-day life like you guys do.
But it's just maybe if that's the thing that kind of turned you up. You said, "Oh, I just realized this was all rewritten," and then you can't recall how or
Because
where
there's
that was.
multiple things.
Then-
After 16 years, there's like multiple things that will just build up. So that was finally kind of like the one nail in the coffin, but it wasn't such a big nail for me to like be ingrained in my mind because there was already so many things leading up to it. It was kind of just like tipping the boat over.
But is it maybe if you thought that was so important and then you realized you couldn't recall it? Is it possible that you were just mistaken and you
No.
actually? It's not.
No.
Even you're just confident, even though you can't recall.
Yeah.
it.